Polls. They can be the essence of virtual classroom interaction, or they can be a right royal pain in the In this video, we're going to take a look at polls and when and how to use them for optimal effect, and also when not to use them too. Now, the truth is I do love polls, and it's a great way to get interactive with your learners. It really creates that community feel in a virtual space where everyone's voices are heard and where everyone shares commonalities or even differences, which can then be discussed that further bring the virtual classroom to life. For me, it's true adult learning theory in progress, where learners learn from each other and discuss opinions or theories with each other. Now, before we get to my recommendations for poll productivity, don't forget to catch my top 10 tips for virtual classroom success, which covers the importance of preparation of VCs, including poll preparation. So first of all, what's a poll and how can we compare that to anything we do in the face-to-face classroom? I guess its most basic comparison would be posing a question to your group and maybe asking them to move to various parts of the training room that represents their chosen answer. So for example, in a multiple choice style, each corner of the room could represent choice A, B, C and D, for example. Or even giving objects or props to hold up to represent their chosen answer. And you know, it's all great fun and it allows everyone to have a say and always makes for interesting discussions throughout the course. So how can we relate all this to the virtual classroom? Well, that's where virtual polls come in. Pre-prepared and well positioned, they can pose all sorts of interesting questions to really get people talking. Let's have a look how. Polls as icebreakers. Why not? It's a great way to introduce your learners to the tech and get them to answer some fun questions at the same time. It builds confidence in the tech and breaks the ice all in one go. The sorts of icebreaker polls you could ask can be related or even non-related to the content of the course. So non-related stuff could be as basic as, where are you joining us from? With answers such as at home, works office, coffee shop, it's a secret, and so on. And once the results come in, there can be all sorts of spin-off questions and conversations then. So where in the home are you? Or what's the weather like in your garden right now? Which could be lots of fun when you're dealing with a global audience. A related icebreaker can also be fun as well, and it can start your delegates to get themselves into that learning zone and considering the topic ahead. So for example, if I was delivering an introduction to the use of neuro-linguistic programming in learning and development, I might start with a poll question such as, what are your thoughts on using NLP techniques to assist in coaching your apprentices? And your answer choices might be, for example, if it positively supports my learners, it's a good thing, or I worry it could be perceived as mind control, or you need to prove it to me that it works, or I don't know yet, for example. And it's also a great way for you to gauge your thoughts and their thoughts of the subject ahead as well. Again, from such icebreakers, you can get people talking either on mic or in the chat box afterwards as well. Now, another great way to use polls is to post questions that will get people thinking about the subject of the course. And these are great to start off a session to really get the grey matter working. And a good example are some surprising statistics in percentages or numbers. But to make it more intriguing, I'd recommend not giving the specific answers, but more general ranges. Let me give you an example. So if the question was, what's the percentage of L&D teams worldwide that are ready to deliver virtual classrooms? You could have answers such as between 10% and 20%, between 21% and 39%, and so on. Now, once the correct range has been revealed, you can then further reveal the exact statistic, providing yet another level of anticipation. And this truly puts your learners in the right mindset of discovery for the rest of the session. Now, another really useful way of utilising polls is to create knowledge checks at the beginning, and it could be based on any pre-work completed or just to gain the subject knowledge of the participants. And this can also really help learners decide on their own learning objectives based on any knowledge gaps they have discovered. But it can help you to understand the knowledge and skills of your audience as well, and adjust delivery and content accordingly. Now, I'd always refer to them as quick quizzes so as not to stress or panic your learners. Making them sound any more formal than that is sure to turn off any adult learner. And while we're thinking about knowledge checks, what a great thing to do at the end as well, as this will really help you measure or at least gauge the transfer of learning amongst your group in the moment. Now, when it comes to evaluation models, I'm a particular fan of the New World Kirkpatrick model of evaluation. In fact, I wrote an article on it about my love back in LinkedIn in 2016. I love it. Now, the great news is polls can cover 2 of those 4 levels of evaluation before you've even closed down the VC. So I'm a fan of this particular model, by the way, because the original 1950s Kirkpatrick model was updated by the Kirkpatricks to reflect modern working practices and current learning theory. So this means that this L&D staple of evaluation continues to be as relevant and as current as ever. So our knowledge check at the end has helped us uncover the level of learning in Kirkpatrick's evaluation model. And the second level can also be measured too. So why not have a poll at the end that measures the second level, reaction? Whatever your thoughts on happy sheets are, this is the first level of the model, and measuring their reaction to the learning intervention is important. Now, there's many problems with happy sheets in face-to-face classrooms. One of them is that participants may worry about anonymity, for example. Will the trainer recognise my handwriting? Will he know which happy sheet was mine? I better just put good stuff just in case. And there are ways around this if you're creative, but there can always be some level of doubt from the learners of the course. So how does this translate into the virtual classroom? As always, there needs to be a level of trust between you and your learners, and this is built and achieved through great rapport from the onset of the session, just like in a face-to-face classroom. Now, the great news is most webinar software allows for anonymous collection of poll results, and I always set my polls to anonymous right from the start, and it's really important from the perspective of trust and integrity. And I always inform my learners that any results are anonymous and that I have no idea who is answering what. This also means that you can share everyone's responses graphically on screen as well, without exposing any learner to the rest of the group. So there you go. That's all the pleasure to polls, and there's a lot of it. So where's the pain? Well, first of all, my advice is to use polls sparingly. Whether they're disguised as icebreakers, fun fact revealers, quizzes, happy sheets, they can become a chore for both facilitator and the learner if they're overused. So rather than make them a pain and overuse them, always ask yourself if the information you want to get across can be presented or gathered in another way. So I think of those badly written classroom workshops where repetition of form rears its ugly head throughout. So, for example, a learning point is revealed. Everyone goes into breakout groups, they discuss, they report back, then another learning point is revealed, and so on. Yeah, it's real painful repetition that continues and continues. So don't fall into this trap with polls or any other online tool. So painful and boring for everyone. So there you go, polls in your VCs. In this video we've looked at just how versatile they can be for icebreakers, fun fact sharing, knowledge checks, even evaluation. The interaction and engagement they provide can be hugely powerful, but remember, we've also considered overuse or inappropriate use can be not so good as well. Thanks for watching.